Well, I guess after my workouts is just going to be kind of the easy vlogging time. So I will try to find a time when I look like I haven't been working out, but not today, not this video apparently. I actually did record earlier, and then I realized that a lot of what I said I'd already said in the earlier recording, and I didn't want to be repetitive, so I decided to redo. So the gestational diabetes diet, I kind of outlined it, but a lot of what I'm eating is like, I can have sandwiches. I just have to pay attention to what kind of bread and like the amount of bread. So one thing that's convenient is I figured out like a large sandwich croissant is actually only 30 grams of carbs, so I can have that, and then I can also have either like a cup of fruit or like 15 chips or something like that. So I can have, for the most part, like my lunches and even a lot of my dinners are like, just for the simplicity of measuring, are sandwiches made with various kinds of bread that I know are 15 or less grams of carbs per slice. Otherwise, I can have basically 1 whole cup of rice is 45 grams of carbs. So what I generally do is, if I have like food that would be good with rice, I have 2/3 of a cup of rice with, chicken and broccoli, or like my favorite thing is bean sprouts, because they're kind of like noodles, but they're not noodles. So I've been doing a lot of like Asian stir fry type stuff. I got some faux crab meat recently, so I'm gonna have that, I think, on Thursday. I'm gonna make like a kind of like my favorite restaurant, or one of my favorite restaurants, is Genghis Grill. And usually when I go there, I love it because I can get like seafood and chicken and all of the other things. And so I'm gonna kind of do like a stir fry with faux crab and chicken and egg, and all the spices that I love, and maybe some kind of an Asian ginger dressing or something. And then I'll probably eat that with rice. Although I'm gonna see how many carbs are in glass noodles, because I saw someone online eating those recently, and I was like, ooh, those look really good. So yeah, tonight I'm having tacos, which pretty much, as long as I look at the package, a lot of the store-bought smaller tortillas are actually pretty carb dense, but oddly enough, the closer they are to fresh, the less carbs they have. They're probably way fattier, but I'm not really counting fat that carefully right now. So, like, I'm not going crazy with it, but I'm not really worried about it. So, like, oddly enough, Torchy's tacos, for those of you who live anywhere near a Torchy's, their tortillas are 15 grams each. So I can have 3 if I wanted to, or I can have 2 tacos and like some chips. So that's the kind of stuff. So like at restaurants, I get like sandwiches, and if I can, I modify them. Like there's a French restaurant called La Madeleine around here that I get like my usual sandwich, but I'll have them change the bread to a croissant so that I know that I'm not going to bust my carbs. And I love it because La Madeleine's tomato basil soup is really good, and it's actually a pretty low carb soup as well. So I can have a cup of soup as my vegetables, and a sandwich, and chips, or a cup of strawberries. So it's actually like really, really filling and really, really satisfying. It's actually a little expensive, but if I'm feeling discouraged, like, oh, I'm just tired of eating the same things over and over again, I can go there and get pretty much anything on their menu on a croissant. I could have half a plate of their pesto chicken pasta, which is amazing to me, because that's a huge portion anyway, and it's like my favorite thing there. It's terrible for you though, because it's just heavy cream and stuff like that, but carb wise it's fine. So I'm sort of saving that. If I ever am just having a terrible day, I might go do that. But so far, every time I've gone, I've ended up just getting a sandwich with like chicken and lettuce and tomatoes or something on it. But I could get pasta Pasta overall is really hard to measure, and that's why I think I've been shying away from it, because like the number of carbs is based on like a cup of cooked pasta, and like I don't know how much to cook to make a cup of cooked pasta. And I think it's like 1 cup or 2/3 of a cup, depending on the type of pasta, for all 3 units of carbs for like a whole meal. And that's just not that much, like in terms of like volume. Like there's better ways to get my carbs that'll make me feel fuller. So I haven't really been doing any kind of pasta. I have rice sometimes, mostly bread, because that seems to be the most like satiating and filling option. It is getting a little old, but I have always loved sandwiches, so at least I can have sandwiches. I think I'd be going nuts if I had to eat all this protein with no grains or something like that. Strawberries and berries in general are kind of my main go-to fruit. Bananas are pretty sugary, and so like I can technically have half a banana as 1 unit of carbs, but I'm a little bit allergic anyway, so I don't usually go for it. But like I do occasionally eat like a little bit of banana. I'm not terribly allergic, but I have noticed that when I eat banana, I don't process it as well as I do other fruits. So I guess there's not quite enough, like there's not as much fiber balancing the sugar as a lot of other fruits. So 1 whole small apple is a unit of carbs. Half of a large apple is a unit of carbs. So yeah, anyway, so sometimes like if I'm really tired of the eggs for breakfast, which happens because I've never really liked meat in the morning, or eggs or protein really. I can have like half of a big Honeycrisp apple with like 2 or 3 tablespoons of peanut butter. And that's very filling and really good. It's but usually I only do that if I'm going to be working out after, because technically I'm supposed to eat minimal fruit in the mornings. But boy, is it good. And it's a nice break. Also, Kodiak pancakes. I can have an entire serving of Kodiak pancakes for breakfast, with an egg added. It makes like a ridiculous number of small pancakes. Now I can't put anything on them like honey or syrup or anything like that, but I can put butter on them. And sometimes when I just want like a starchy breakfast, that's awesome that I can have Kodiak pancakes. The other thing I can have is Kodiak frozen waffles. I can have 2 of those for breakfast when I just want something quick that I can grab on the way out the door. So that's been kind of my backup breakfast if I am running late, because I'm not supposed to skip breakfasts. For snacks, 1 cup of the lower sugar yogurts, like Chobani low sugar yogurt, any flavor, is a perfect ratio of 1 unit of carbs to 1 unit of protein. 1 unit of protein, I figured out, basically is 6 or more grams of protein generally. So I can have yogurt, but I've never been a huge yogurt person, so I've been eating it more, but it's not my favorite thing. At night, there's these very expensive, I think they're by Chobani, maybe not. There's these Greek yogurt popsicles that you can get that are like $1.25 each. You can get them in a box, but they were having a sale on them at Costco this week, so I got a big box of these Greek yogurt popsicles, and they're not very sweet at all because there's very little sugar added. But like the ones I got are mint chocolate chip. I've also tried the coffee chocolate chip and the chocolate ones, and so those are kind of my like when I'm really feeling frustrated or discouraged or just pregnant and I just really want to eat something that feels normal. I'll have that. And it seems to work just fine in terms of my sugar readings after I've eaten them and things like that. So I can just have 1 of those popsicles as a snack. Otherwise, it's usually like either a handful of peanuts or like a string cheese, or a couple slices of cheese, like an ounce of cheese, and goldfish, or a piece of toast, or fruit, or I'm trying to think. I did notice that I got pretzel sticks that were supposed to be whole wheat pretzel sticks, and I measured out the correct number. There were supposed to be like 17 and a half pretzel sticks would be 15 grams of carbs. And I tried that like my second day on the diet, and my sugar was really high in spite of following all the rest of the directions, and I ate it with like cheese or whatever. And so they said that there's just going to be some stuff that like different people's bodies process differently. So like, you know, if you're trying to think of like, if you're watching this looking for ideas for what to eat on the gestational diabetes diet, you could still try it, but I found that it was maybe too carb dense or something. But pretzel sticks just were like, I haven't eaten them since, because it's not worth it to me to risk having high sugar, even though they were delicious. And I'll probably eat them after I'm not required to be on the diet anymore, on my off days or something, just so I don't waste them. But yeah, I found pretzel sticks are too dense. Is there anything else that hasn't worked really well? Trying to remember, I ordered something, and I got, instead of a croissant, I got half of a chicken Caesar sandwich at La Madeleine, which is put on like a sourdough like baguette or something. And so I got half of one because that was supposed to, they marked that a whole one would be 45. No, I think they said a whole one would be 60 grams of carbs. And so I was like, okay, if I get a half, then that's, 30, and then I can have like fruit or something with it. And I got that, and I don't know if the bread was just too dense or if it was too much of a guesstimate on the like online thing. The only times I've really come close to busting have been when I'm using an estimate online from like a restaurant. And I think it's just because the people in the kitchen might not be measuring quite so precisely. So kind of beware of that, especially like technically I'm not supposed to eat anything fried either. Although she said that more as an afterthought as I was leaving rather than like part of the official plan. So I don't really eat a lot of fried food anyway. It hasn't really been a huge temptation for me. But I noticed that I went and got some fajitas somewhere, and I had 2 small flour tortillas with these fajitas, but the fajitas had the option to come with fried onion strings. And I went ahead and got them because I was getting like less meat. Oh, there's a bug. Get out. Get out. Okay, it flew away. I need to hurry up, but I think that the onions might have had sugar added or something, because something about that meal, that was the highest I've had. Like, I think I got like 120. So like I didn't bust, but I almost did. And I had walked home. So I'd walked a mile after eating that, and I still hit 120. So I learned my lesson not to assume, because I think, the onion strings were fried, but I thought I had enough extra carbs to kind of cover for that. So don't guesstimate if you're trying to be as precise as I am. Anyway, for workouts, I swim laps. I do aqua size with the seniors, which is like several days a week. When I have very little time, or I'm like at a meeting or something and I just really need to get it done, I will sneak out and go find some stairs and go up and down a flight of stairs 12 times. And I have to be not too fast about it because, 8 months pregnant, but generally it takes me about 15 minutes to do 12 flights of stairs with taking breaks as needed, especially if I have a bottle of water with me. But that is a very effective way to burn your carbs if you're in a pinch. And it only takes 15 minutes. So I've been doing stairs a lot. Sometimes when I'm bored with the usual, I have a playlist of the Cotton Eye Joe that I've been doing, where I do the Cotton Eye Joe 7 times through in a row, which takes about 25 minutes. And then otherwise, mostly I just go walk. I'll either walk at the mall or at the park, depending on the time of day and the weather. But I've mostly been doing that because those are sort of the low impact workouts that are approved by my doctor for pregnancy, that I also feel comfortable and safe doing. So I do usually like pick 2 of those. That's what I do every day minimum. And then sometimes I'll swim a second time if I do aqua size in the morning. So that is my gestational diabetes diet and exercise like wrap up, some summary, whatever. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. And if you want any recipes, or if you want me to do a demo of a recipe, just let me know. I'd be happy to do that.